You just love it when you're holding that angle and then suddenly your brain just forgets to come to work. You fall asleep at the wheel, you look at the mini-map, or you just get a Valorant timing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've all been there, man. Even the best of the best. Then again, there are specific techniques and mechanics that we could all pick up from how pro players do this. And today, we're going to try to shed some light on how pros hold angles without dying. Now, first off, let's briefly discuss what on and off angles are and how they matter in holding angles. Now, in a nutshell, if you're new to this, on angles refer to common angles where you can hold areas and tuck into safety when needed. Now, on the other hand, off angles are unpredictable spots that often catch all the enemies off guard, but they're generally going to be really risky. Now, the thing about holding angles is that predictable and repetitive patterns, they're just going to be the main cause of your downfall. You cannot be predictable. Now, there's nothing wrong with sticking to holding all those on angles that we all like to hold, but you should switch up your positioning throughout. And if you're trying to hold an off angle, avoid overusing it and find other ratty spots you can play in as well. The key is to always mess with your enemy's expectations. Now, I mean, sure, it's all going to boil down to who has the better aim and faster reaction at the end of the day, but you need to claim every single advantage you can get before the duel even starts. If you want to play a bit passive with an extra layer of safety, make use of on angles. If you feel the enemy's caught up in your playstyle, play an off angle to break up those expectations. Off angles also find more success if you're using agents with a get-out-of-jail-free card like Chamber, Jet, Reyna, and Waylay. Now, to answer the question about how pros hold angles, we're going to go through some of Primmie's competitive matches. And if you haven't heard by now, Primmie is one of the most mechanical players when it comes to holding angles. Now, isn't that right, Curry?
Shot in towards Hell. Something trying to suss out the position, and Primmie has the headshot.
Hey, Primmie holding angles. Hey, Primmie, he's good at holding angles, bro. Hey, they didn't lie about that. They did not lie about that, bro.
Primmie's discipline, combined with that insane reaction time, is what allows him to best his enemies and drop them like absolute flies. But of course, head-level crosshair placement has to always be present apart from the mentioned traits. Now, all that said, check out this match-winning clutch from Primmie on a retake. And as you watch this clip, try to observe Primmie's adjustments and positioning.
Spike down B. One enemy remaining.
On the first kill, he holds a semi-wide angle to the left of the Astra smoke. He then repositions to the right, this time holding the right side of the smoke before adjusting to the left as soon as the enemy Astra peeked out of the smoke. Notice how he aligns and pre-aims his crosshair whenever he switches angles. This mechanic is exactly what helps him land his shots better. After eliminating Astra, he pops his dash and repositions to the left side. This is another key takeaway from how Primmie holds angles. Every engagement, whether you won or lost it, you should either reset by tucking into cover or reposition to keep those enemies guessing. Primmie pops his Blade Storm and holds the fading Astra smoke wide to the right, granting him another easy pick on the Tejo. This wide placement was perfect because he gets the advantage of seeing Tejo first due to their proximity on the smoke. All Primmie had to do was wait for the peeker to fall right into his crosshair and click. Now, he does get a little bit greedy by trying to land another strike to KJ, but at least he dashes out right after. Especially since it wasn't a headshot and KJ could have punished Primmie if he hadn't dashed away. Finally, with a swift and precise updraft, Primmie lands the final blow and wins the game. And honestly, there's nothing too flashy about how he achieved this round ender either. It was all pure discipline and mechanical skill, which you too can learn with enough practice and in-game application. Now, most of those duels are considered on angles because of how he used the pillar near CT as his main source of cover. The only time he went for an off angle is when he repositioned for the last two kills, which he perfectly compensated for by utilizing his dash. This round from Primmie, it's a perfect example of how much options you can go for when playing around covers. Luckily, over at SkillCapped, we've worked with professionals to create 3 world-class aim courses that are designed to take you from this to this in as short as 3 months. And at the end of the day, Valorant is an FPS game, and if you can't shoot straight, you can't snowball. Nobody wants to bottom frag every single game, and the best part is you don't have to. We're confident any one of you could achieve immortal level aim, and in fact, we believe in that so much we even offer a rank improvement guarantee, meaning if you don't climb using our service, well, you just don't pay. So if you're tired of bottom fragging and really looking to snowball matches today, be sure to check out SkillCapped using the discount link in the description below. And next up, we have a quick ace from his ranked match on Ascent.
อะไรอ่ะหลุดเหรอบักเหรอเพิ่งมาอ่ะ
One enemy remaining.
And this time we're going to show a more greedy side to Primmie just because he seemed to be feeling his oats in this game, you know what I'm saying? Here he decides to play it risky by holding an off angle on B main against most of the enemy team. Unfortunately, that first peeker caught Primmie off guard as it seemed like an ISO acting like a Yoru clone. Now Primmie did try to ace the head, but misses his shot, but instead of panicking, he pops his dash and adjusts his crosshair back to the left, picking off the jet clean. Now here's what I meant when Primmie starts to become a little bit greedy. Most players here might dash away after grabbing that first kill, but in this case, Primmie didn't feel like he was being threatened by anyone. Instead, you'll see he stands his ground while he still has dash available and basically says to the enemy team, "You're gonna have to force me to use it." The grave mistake the enemy team made. He changes his angle by hugging the wall, pops his dash again, and re-peeks the ISO for his fourth kill. Hungry for the ace, he dashes forward and ends the round with a precise headshot on Cypher. This round, while it's contradictory to the disciplined clip that we just showed earlier, still proved how Primmie really knows when to take risks and when to be patient. You can absolutely be aggressive like this too once in a while, especially if you're confident that you can hit the shots. But what you need to instill in your head whenever holding angles is that you need to do it with purpose. Every action, whether it's passive or whether it's aggressive, it has to be done with purpose. If you want to keep the discipline and play a bit more passive, make it a habit to reset and reposition after landing or missing your first shot. If you're going to go for an aggressive hold like Primmie did on Ascent, maintain composure, keep it calm, and always keep a safety net handy when you really need it. So to answer the question and wrap all of this up of when you should hold angles, well, there's actually no definite answer to this. It's all going to depend on how you read the situation and the enemy's habits, as well as what info you currently have. For instance, if you're a solo anchor on B and you notice the enemy's pushing A while the rest of your teammates rotate, try to account for how many enemies are visible on the minimap or who were confirmed by your teammates. If you notice one or two of them missing, then maybe it's worth holding that angle on B main for a bit more before you leave it. Generally, you should also stick to the habit of holding angles just a little bit wider instead of tightly, so you have that ample time to react. Now, I'm sure you, just like me, have seen a lot of pros hold tight and pixel angles, but this isn't really recommended. You're not going to always have inhuman reflexes like these pros, so best be mechanical about that approach here. Remember that before your favorite pro players reach their godlike skills, they have long mastered the fundamentals needed to get to where they are.